Welcome back to Big Riff Energy. I am here with the perfect guest for Big Riff Energy, the Riff Lord himself, KIRK WINDSTEIN. How you doing, man?
Good, bro.
Good to see you, man.
You too. Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So you are a lifer riff. And one of the questions I like to ask people, think back, if you can, to the first riff, or it can be multiple riffs that you heard that made you realize, like, I want to do that with my life.
I mean, honestly, my friend Evan, who I grew up with since first grade, he passed away like when we were quarter down too. He lent me Kiss Alive one. His older brother had it. And when I heard no chords to use, I mean, I was already a big fan, and I started playing piano, but I got frustrated. I wanted to be Elton John, and I didn't realize. Well, I started playing piano at like 8 or something. It's like I didn't realize the teacher was doing the correct thing. I'm like, no, I want to learn. She's like, yeah, but you got to start. You can't just God's classic drink. You can't just start playing.
Elton John.
Yeah. So I got frustrated and quit. And then a couple of years later, actually, yeah, when I was 12, I got an acoustic guitar one year for Christmas, and my parents said, look, if you stick with this, she'll promise, and she looks like you have a talent for music, they will get you an electric guitar next year for Christmas. So I taught myself by ear. Took same thing, took a few lessons, wanted to play Stairway to Heaven, wanted to play this, and the guy's like, no, you need to learn, got bored and quit, so I just taught by ear. But really, that kid, the opening riff to Dukes from Kiss Alive one was kind of like the real rock and roll. Like, I'm like, this is what I want to do. When I played sports, my whole life as a kid through high school and shit. And then, one day, I'm like, well, I'm obviously not getting anywhere. I'm not going to be a college football player or anything. So I dedicated everything to music, man. And my mom had me registered at University of New Orleans for college. And I'm like, well, I got band practice and I need to get a full-time job so I can buy gear. Like, how am I supposed to go to school? She goes, well, you need to decide what you want to do. I said, well, I'm not going to school. I said, I can always go back to school, but I need to do this right now or it's never going to happen.
I did the same shit, man.
Yeah.
It's because that is kind of a crossroads of like, all right, do I kind of put this thing that I love to the side and pursue like the same route,
right?
Or do I pursue the more risk avenue and really lean into this music thing? And I think either way can work.
It does.
It worked for you, obviously.
I mean,
a risky way.
Luck too. Takes a lot of luck. Really, more than anything, it takes what's the word? I'm sure you have to sacrifice like everything.
Yeah,
like everything has to take a backseat. Music has to be your life, in order.
Yeah. You miss a lot of shit. Miss a lot of weddings. Miss a lot.
Luckily, I have a great relationship with my daughter. She's 22 now. She's a senior at LSU. But stuff things my marriage didn't work out with her mom, and all the girlfriends came and went and all that kind of shit. Yeah. And then now I have Robin, which is amazing.
Shout out to Robin. Yeah, we love you, Robin.
Absolutely. But she works with me, as you know. So yeah. It's like,
I miss Robin, man.
I do too, man. I've barely seen her. It's kind of like, she was on the tour with A-Paul, but since I was at Phil's all day and night every day, and then I came home for a day, packed some shit, and got on a plane for Las Vegas.
Okay, so flashback, you've heard Kiss, Learning Zeppelin, and stuff like that.
Yep.
When you first started a band, it wasn't called Crowbar. It was Shell Shock first, right?
First band I was ever in was actually called Charisma we stole it from the song title of Dynasty, the Kiss.
Okay.
Song Charisma. With some high school friends I grew up with. And, of course, we we weren't good, but you got to get your feet wet sooner or later and get started. So I played in a metal cover song band in the 80s called Victoria Bliss. And that's how I really learned how to play because, you know, we were into like the heavier shit. Like we were the first cover band in town that really played, you know, Iron Maiden, Motorhead, Priest, you know, Saxon, Twisted Sister, all that shit, like metal stuff. And we were probably definitely the first cover band to play. We stood for the Bell Tolls, Ride the Lightning, and shit like that, you know. So needless to say, our original sounded similar to that, and we couldn't get booked without with the set list we were playing. God, people like, you know, like only the musicians like this.
Right.
You know, it's like one of them things. And
but the New Orleans crowd wanted to hear,
yeah, they want other shit.
More kind of radios.
So like we got a guy who got a great voice, still sings in a couple of local bands. Derek, what's that's his name? Still friends with him. He's a great singer. So we got him in, and we had to change, you know, look up bit that or hair metalish. Like we'd wear spandex, but we'd have like, you know, no shirts on or whatever, and just, you know, going for it. I mean, look, well, and then we got away from all of that shit. But so, you know, I just didn't enjoy that. So my friend Mike Hatch, who was and his brother Greg, who I just saw Greg in Las Vegas, they were in a punk band called Shell Shock. And they were gonna move to San Francisco. Well, Greg ended up moving out there. He had a wife and a daughter and a job set up. So he pretty much had to go. And Mike called me from like a truck stop in fucking Phoenix or something. He's like, dude, me, Jimmy, and little Mike, Jimmy Bauer.
Jimmy Bauer.
Yeah. And Mike, our bass player, who's now the dean at Valdosta Steve.
What?
So he's one who got out of music and did good well.
Ain't it? Congratulations, man.
Exactly.
Got out.
Yeah, he's that great dude. And Mike was like, he goes, man, he goes, we're turning around and coming back, me, Jimmy, and little Mike. And he goes, would you want to play guitar and join Shell Shock? And I said, you know what? Yeah, I need a change of pace. And so they were a 3-chord punk band to begin with. So we went a little more like crossover-ish, hardcore-ish, a little more metal, because Mike and they were all big metal fans. They just like, it was fun playing the 3-chord punk shit too, you know?
Yeah.
So we did a little bit of that, and it did fairly well for a bit. And then Mike, unfortunately, committed suicide, and so that was the end of Shell Shock. So we turned it into Aftershock, and that kind of fell apart. And it was just me and Jimmy.
And the Slugs came next?
Yes, it was just me and Jimmy.
Right.
And we were like, you know, we had been playing I'd played thrash covers, we were playing punk stuff and really upbeat stuff. And we started getting into trouble, say by this, you know, revisiting Sabbath, getting into the metal and
Carnivore.
Carnivore, yeah. Retaliation was a life changer for sure. And you know, one day, me and Jimmy were just like, let's just quit even trying to do like the thrashy thing. We like this other style of music so much more. So since in 1988, we tuned down the B standard. Now we drop A some songs. But first, Jimmy was just like, all right, what do we do? And I go, so he started the opening drum lick, Waiting in Silence. And I just like instinctively hit the chords. And we're like, all right, we got a verse.
There's the sound.
Yeah, so I was going to be.
Like, you answered my question because I was going to ask you, do you remember like the first riff or first part where you
that was it.
Yeah.
And you can even hear like we tried picking that song up here and there. We even rewrote the middle because it's too cheesy to me. But we were still like in the process of finding, you know, of getting away from the thrashier stuff and going into the doom direction. So, you know, Waiting in Silence was the first, but like I said, that middle section, like there's elements of Obedience Who Suffer. There's a song here and there, or a riff here and there that I don't really like because it's not. That's why this second album was self-titled. It's called, to me, that's the first real, to me, Obedience is demo tape.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of had the same experience with Spirit Adrift where it just kind of, this thing falls out and you're like, oh, that's what I want to do, but it might take you a record to
Find your
refine,
sound.
yeah, truly identify it.
I mean, that was that, so to me, like we don't do anything off obedience, but we do a lot off it. So tight.
Yeah, that's classic.
Got to put us on the map. So
for sure.
But yeah, Jimmy just went po prado, prado, and I'm like, I just hit a beat, go whatever, and he goes, that's pretty fine.
That's the sound. Yeah.
So we'd record every practice. We'd practice money. We didn't have any money. We'd work shitty little jobs for like manpower, like we'd work these like warehouse jobs that were like midnight to 8 a.m. like loading boxes for conveyor belts. This is all kind of any kind.
You work any
crap you got there. That's what I'm talking about. Sacrifice. You can't. I mean, really, you have to. I just told myself, I'm not taking no for an answer, and I'm past the point of no return. Somehow, some way this is gonna work,
right? And I'm just making it work. And the trick too in those early days is you have to find a job that's not gonna like take so much of your soul and your mind power.
Yeah, you can't go home with your
physical stuff is better, and it also has to be a job where they're cool and they'll let you work maybe a weird schedule so that you could do the band.
See, that's why I ended up working for a couple of different sound companies, doing stage and shit like that, because it was good money, it was hard work, weird hours, but they were understanding all the people played music,
right? And you're getting to hear music,
so exactly. So you're still around. There's total.
Yeah.
We worked a lot of really famous bands and shit. But then we did our share of weddings and whatnot too. It was work when I wasn't on tour. So
yeah.
I mean, really, I tell people, I'm like, it took me till we wrote the down. It took me till down 2 to be able to make a living playing music. I mean, I think that came out when I was 36, going on 37 years old.
I'm 37 right now.
Yeah. So I mean, it took me that long to actually make a living. I was already, Jesus, Obedience, Self-Titled, Tommy Is Loving, Broken Glass, Oddfellows Rest, Equilibrium, Sonic Excess. It took me like 7 Crowbar rounds and 2 down albums.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, to be able to make a fucking living, and even with Crowbar in the 90s, man, it was strictly a really underground thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, now
you guys are like more popular now.
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, like we really do. We're like legit merch band now, legit, draws at the shows and stuff. But I mean, it took forever to do it. So I'm fucking 60 years old in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday.
Well, thank you. I got to make it.
Real lifer. Real lifer to you. And, I was going to ask you at some point in this conversation if you like what your best piece of advice to aspiring musicians would be, but it kind of sounds like, and from what I've gathered too, is like the only way that you have a chance at making it is just don't quit.
Yeah.
Just don't ever
quit.
quit.
I mean, there's been multiple times where I was the only person in Crowbar, but I never broke up.
Right.
That's why I played with 1,000 different people. You know what I mean?
You're speaking.
It's not me. It's not me. Firing people or being that.
It's life.
Yeah, it's like dudes are like, well, man, I think I'm getting married. Okay, well, I wish you luck. We're still friends,
Yeah.
But if you got a good job and you want to do it, I understand. But yeah, I mean, my advice is just sacrifice everything and just don't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to work. You got to give everything in, to it.
I want to talk about a record that I feel like has maybe been underrated, but people really love it now. I know I talked to even like folks at Fan and Robin. Sever the Wicked Hand, man.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite Crowbar records, and I haven't been able to really.
You're cool, Luch.
Yeah, no, we are.
You're all good, brother. Yeah, go ahead. You're all good.
Go on through. I got clean editing skills and shit. So yeah,
security guy, Phil's.
Oh, cool. Where were you at? Like, what's the story with Sever the Wicked Hand? Because it's got like a positivity to it, all kind of it stands out in the catalog.
I mean, honestly, the thing is, I didn't come. We recorded that. You can go ahead.
Yeah, you good, bro? Yeah.
With that came out in I think 2011. We recorded that in 2010, and it was the first record. Like down, we did 2 shows I think in 2010. And they were both, we did a festival in Switzerland that we headlined, and we opened for ACDC in Bucharest, Romania.
Gosh.
And that was unbelievable. But so I had time, and Pat, our bass player, was on that record.
He was playing for y'all the first time I saw it.
So Pat and Tommy, our drummer, had been in the band since 2004, and we had never, I was so busy with Down, we had never even written a song together. So Phil was kind of like, we need to take a little break this year. And I said, cool. So I go, all right, it's Crowbar time. And, I remember, like, I hadn't written for Crowbar in so long. The ideas were just, I wrote, like, Cemetery Angels and Let Me Mourn in, like, the same day in, like, 20 minutes. They're both drop A.
Cemetery Angels has the breakdown, right? Yeah. The New Orleans, you scream about New Orleans right before you go into it.
Yeah.
Cool.
On top, I'm like, I used to just say, I'm going to show you motherfuckers how to do a proper breakdown New Orleans style.
Yeah, dude. I remember it. You got a lot of good, genuine, like, kind of mosh calls. Trouble Riff. That's a that's a good one.
That's a middle burnings.
Yeah. No. Okay.
And it is.
Yeah, it is. So I'm gonna ask sort of like this might be a little difficult to answer, but there's riffs that you write where the second it comes out of you, it's almost like you didn't even know what the fuck you just did. Get chills.
Yeah.
Get that feeling. Yeah. What are like a few that come to mind first that you have like a distinct memory of being like, holy shit, that's good?
High Rate Extinction. I remember writing I Have Failed. I wrote the first Fixation at the very first ever down rehearsal.
No way.
Yeah, I was just fucking around on guitar. I'm like, that sounds well, Crowbars. What we hadn't even we might have first 3 songs we wrote in a weekend. We did Temptations Wings, the first song. Been losing all that buried me in smoke. So sometime during that week, we wrote like 3 songs one day. I think like Phil might have sang the next day, and then we demoed it on a little 4-track or some shit, and that was our first demo.
Wasn't there like a hurricane or a flood when you guys were recording?
Yeah, on the No Loud.
Yeah,
it was like there's a band from New Orleans called May Flood. That's our bad rain time. In the studio, we were recording that flooded, actually. The whole time in my mom's house, kind of like a foot of water in it. Yeah, it was, it was, bad. So we had to take like a 10, 12-day break. And we had to rip up all the car. But thank God we were able to stack the gear, and thank God the mixing room was up a few steps because they had the fucking Neve console and the 2-inch Studer tape machine.
Oh my God.
Both of those are like worth a fucking fortune.
Yeah.
So it didn't come up that high. So we were able to just stack all the gear up and shit. And there was a picture in Mix magazine of me, Pepper, Jimmy, and Big Todd. Our bass player Phil wasn't there. And we were all in shorts. We took our shirts off, and we're like standing, like the water's up to like almost the top of the kick drum. We're just standing there like, yeah, that happened May 8th, 1995, Monday night. And our friend, because Monday in New Orleans is his red beans and rice day.
Yeah.
And our friend Trey was a great cook. He passed away now. It sucks. It's like you get older, dude. It's like half the people are talking. Yeah. It's
that's already happened to us.
Yeah, but yeah, he cooked. He was a killer cook. He cooked red beans and rice, and like, he's like, man, it's raining pretty fucking bad out here. We're like, oh, we'll be all right. And all of a sudden, the power goes out, and we look in, and it just starts. They had like this little, I guess, outside. It was a little window ledge thing, and the glass, the water was coming up to like the glass and pouring in under the door and shit. And like I said, I guess the mixing room was probably about as high as that table, like, 3 or 4 steps up. So we were like, well, we can't move this studio tape machine that weighs like a fucking, I don't know, you know.
You need like a forklift.
Exactly. I mean, you know, I'm sure they had to get it in literally with some, I don't know, fucking device or something. But
Yeah.
so yeah, we got all the gear up and nothing got, you know, nothing ended up. They just had to air it out, dry it out, get the power back, and all that kind of shit. So,
And again, just did take no for an answer.
Nope.
Got it done.
kept rolling.
Regardless. That's gnarly. I'm gonna hit you with some rapid fires.
Sure.
Let you go, man. I always kind of ask people just easy shit. I don't know if it'll be that easy. What favorite Thin Lizzy record?
It's kind of cheating to say Live and Dangerous, but
That's a
still
good record. Yeah, that's a good.
only one. I don't.
Southbound is better on that. Some of the songs.
Oh
are,
yeah,
dude. Live and Dangerous Southbound is
Yeah.
fucking
I love
hard.
that song.
Yeah,
It's like I love that they did Rosalie about Seeger, but it's like I'm thinking of it. So they had so many great. They could have put an original.
yeah.
You know, it's not like he's one of my favorite songwriters of all time. It's not like he didn't write a bunch of other great songs they could have put on.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's back in the 70s and shit like that. I'm kind of a live album guy because you get the best. It sounds more, you know, they get better guitar tones and shit.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the studio stuff.
Higher energy.
Yeah.
That's,
you know.
That's a great record. Favorite Trouble record?
The self-titled 1990.
Okay.
That's like a masterpiece.
There's a Skull. Jimmy Bauer turned me on to Skull.
Oh, really?
Yeah, way back.
The Skulls, I mean, it's amazing too. But I mean, when I was into Trouble already, and then when that album came out, like 1990, we kind of became friends with them. I'm trying to think. Well, Ron Holzner had moved down to New Orleans.
I didn't know.
Oh yeah, with his ex-wife or whatever. He lived in the same apartment complex as me and Jimmy.
No shit.
Yeah, so like me.
Wait, wasn't he and Jimmy were in a band for a minute, right? Like Dupree or some shit?
Yeah, with Dave
Chandler from Vitus. Yeah.
I forgot about it.
I did.
Yeah, Pat plays.
You guys have been in more bands that you've forgotten about than most people have been in bands. Like,
Probably. Like Jamie Joss's philosophy of everything in this business is you throw everything at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
It is true.
That's good advice.
Learn, you know, it's like it's okay to fail. It's okay to try different things and it doesn't take off or doesn't get accepted. But he's got to stay true to yourself and what you're about, you know.
Yeah.
And so I mean, you know, I've done a bunch of little side bands and shit that, you know, weren't very good, or we'd play a few gigs for fun and whatever. But
I think it's all respectable at least.
I mean,
it's not very good. You know?
Yeah, just
some of them pop
off,
some of them don't.
Exactly, but they're still fun.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing. If you're jamming with your friends, you're having fun.
Yeah,
you create the creative side is the thing I love the most about what it is, the writing process.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. All right, this one might fuck you up. Favorite Priest record?
All right, you calling in, baby. We were actually
Pep, what's your favorite Priest record, bro?
My favorite Priest.
Yeah. That's a hard one, huh?
We were discussing the other night, because believe it or not, I like to defend me too. So I'd want to point of entry today. Like,
headed out to the highway is cool, but
I like Desert Plains, Turning Circles.
But that can't be your favorite.
No,
Priest record.
The Defenders of the Faith is my favorite.
Okay.
And we were having this discussion.
It's one of them.
Is it Defenders or Screaming for Vengeance? And I'm like, as a whole piece of work, Screaming for Vengeance is more raw. But to me, there's songs like Rock Hard, Ride Free,
The Sentinel.
Dude, that three songs are amazing. They played shit like When the Night Comes Down, you know, shit like that. Just to me, those songs are better than on Screaming.
Sad Wings has grown on me as I've gotten older.
I mean, it took me when I first thing I had by Priest, so that, and then I had, of course, the live one. It took me a while because at the time I was so into metal, when I started listening to the older shit, you know, Priest had more of a 70s rock tone.
Right.
Which now I fucking love.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, the guitar tone's not near as heavy as, you know, Screaming for Vengeance, Defenders of the Faith.
Right.
I will say, you know, their worst thing, and I hate to say that because I love them so fucking much. Obviously, I gotta freaking tattoo. Like, what is it? Shit, Ram It Down. I like the title track, and I like Blood Red Skies.
That's
the whole
when the
rest of the record to me is kind of
old school Priest fans kind of lost.
well, even with Turbo was kind
Turbo
of
is
experimental.
Reckless is fucking.
You know what? The last song on the record, me and Tommy, but Crowbar drummer, always say that that song sounds like it should have been on fucking Feathers.
Yeah, that's
great.
my dog's like my boy dog when he was growing up. He had to have like hip replacement, so we had to give him like pills with his food at the same time every day. So I made an alarm. Right, I had just read Rob Halford's book.
Okay,
he talked about like get sober or whatever.
Yeah, wasn't that the first song he sang sober?
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
and that like hit me. I listened to it. I was like, man, that's good. So I set that to be like our reminder for our dogs' dinner.
Yeah,
you know. So if they hear that song, they lose their fucking minds, dude. It's amazing. That's an underrated Priest song.
It really is, and it's almost like they just stuck it on as an afterthought.
Yeah,
it's just forgotten.
And
nobody talks about it.
It was supposed to be in the movie Top Gun, and they got beat out by Highway to the Danger Zone.
Oh, okay,
yeah, but it kind of has like a Top Gun. Okay,
yeah, I can see that,
like fighter jets.
Yep, I could. Yeah,
I can see that. So you were telling us a little bit before we started rolling about what's coming up for Crowbar and Down, but if you want to tell the people, listen.
Yeah, I mean we're in San Antonio tonight, April 1st, and we'll be starting drum tracks on the new Down Friday at Phil's studio on the North Shore. The lair, we call it. And so I'm excited about that. Then we'll start on guitars. We have Milwaukee Metal Fest. They're headlining Friday, May 16th down. There's a headliner for that. And Phil's got like Scour and a couple, his band, and he's got a couple of other housecore bands as well on the fest. Cool. So that'll be a fun weekend. And then really I got the Sun Don't Shine guys coming in June. Great. Like I guess 4 more songs.
I love that shit.
I do too, man. It's a lot of fun, and it's totally night and day. That's what I like. Like, why would I be in like 4 Crowbars, 4 Downs or something? It's like, I like that it's something different. It's guys that grew up in a different part of the country that, that like Kenny's is really, really amazing vocalist and writer, but he's really schooled much more than I am. And I was surprised when he told me that Peter Steele knew everything about,
arranging,
theory
and stuff.
Like, I don't know any of that. I just go by ear. Stolen a lot of stuff from Peter Steele.
Me too. Have you heard the shit I stole from Peter Steele yet? I
don't know.
Bro, I'll send it to you.
Do it.
It's pretty brutal. I'm curious what those guys think about it.
Yeah.
I love that it, like, especially that first single was not at all what I was expecting. That first Sun Don't Shine. Single, like, in the best possible
Dreams on
way. Like, I can hear all of y'all's personalities in it, but it doesn't sound like Crowbar and it doesn't sound like Typo.
Well, see, that's
one riff that I'm like, that's Kirk.
Yeah.
The
other 2 or 3, whatever. Kenny had the first half of the song done, and I'm like, I got an outro. And he goes, that's killer.
Yeah.
So, like, when we got together, for the first time in the room together, because we were all we knew each other, and we talked about it, and we were, they've grown to really be great friends now, which is great. I'm looking very forward to everything I've gone on, but to June, those guys, and but like the opening riff, and we're kind of like going, okay, and Johnny right away on was student of his shit. He goes, he started doing some kind of maybe slow or whatever. And he goes, fuck that, I'm going Sly and Family Stone.
Kind of like Dave Grohl on stuff.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, I was like, he knows what he's talking about, man.
That's cool.
And then, we actually did that. We got together, we rehearsed one day, went to a studio the next day and put it together. Then Johnny had to fly out and do Quiet Riot stuff. And the next day, me, Kenny, and Big Todd did guitars and did vocals and bass. And, mix.
Yeah.
We had some guy mix it and send it to us, made the video and shit,
Cool.
So I'm looking forward to that in June. And then Crowbar and I got to do a co-headlining thing in August, probably more the East Coast. And that'll be part 1 that we're talking about doing. Everything goes good, which it's gonna.
Oh yeah.
We'll do a part 2 maybe early next year and more of the West Coast. because we always talk about it. It's like we played, like they were on tour with Soulfly for a little bit, and we had our tour that was going out west. We started in Houston, and then the next show was San Antonio, and we're like, I'm looking online. I'm like, wait a minute, we got a problems. Robert, it's the booking agent.
Oh, you combine
like,
shows.
Yeah, it's like we're double billed. Crowbar and Morbid Visions are double billed with fucking iGod and Soulfly, you know, and I'm like, so they combined the shows and it worked out great.
I actually almost tried to come down and do this thing. Then I was like, dude, that's probably a clusterfuck. There's 19 bands.
I mean, it was
not today. It's
yeah, sure it is. And that was the first day that, you know, you used to, but, you know, we were talking. I'm just like, dude, it's stupid, you know, because they have a little bit, we have different crowds. They're more punkish, and we're more metalish, you know. And it's the same.
But there's plenty of crossover.
Oh,
where
sure.
it'll be a beautiful.
Yeah, it works. I mean, we've done it in Europe. We've done it back in the late 90s. Oh,
were you guys ever on tour at the same time with Pantera, or was that different shit?
No, different times. We did a couple. See, they did a long Pantera.
Then White
we
Zombie.
did like 3.
Yeah.
But we did like 3 different. We did stuff on Cowboys for Obedience to Suffering record. We did stuff on Vulgar, and then we did when Far Beyond Driven first came out. It was just Crowbar and Pantera, and that was I think the tour started the day it came out.
Wow, amazing.
So yeah,
wasn't it? Were you guys ever out with them and Trouble at the same time?
No, but we did play as a 3-piece. It was Pantera and Trouble, and Phil calls and he's like, dude, he's like, can y'all get your gear and shit down here for like 5:30? I said, yeah, you know, nobody's to me. And he goes, we want to throw we wanted a slug still. And it was a 3-piece. It was me, Jimmy, and Big Todd. And so we got thrown on the beginning, away from the front of that bill. So that was great.
That's amazing. Well, man, thank you for your time. Is there anything else you want to tell the folks?
No, just thanks for all your support over all the years, man. It's 35 years of Crowbar and 34 down. So
cool.
It's rolling.
All right. Well, thank you.
Awesome, brother. Thank you.
Takes me quite a while to clear my head. And as the day moves on, I find it hard to smile.